To the program Spotlight on Catholic Television of Nigeria. It is a program that reviews all aspects of human endeavors, from economy to policy making to agriculture to environment to religious, and then to the totality of human endeavors. Today we are going to be looking at a very important aspect of our life as human beings, talking about old age. And there's a book that we are going to be looking at today that address the challenges that older people face as they grow old. My name is Tony Abba. Welcome to the program. In the studio today, I have a very important guest, a Reverend Sister who is of the Congregation of Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul. Her name is Reverend Sister Gloria Anigbonam. Sister, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with our traditional question. Please, can you tell us about yourself?
Thank you, Tony. I am Sister Gloria Anigbonam, a member of the Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul. I have a background in gerontology and aging studies, which a study I took on when I finished my tenure in leadership of my congregation, the province of Nigeria, which comprises of Ghana, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria. I live here in Abuja, and I am very interested. I have passion for whatever concerns older adults. The Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul is an international congregation founded by St. Vincent de Paul and St. Louis de Marillac in the 17th century in France. Our charism is service of persons who are poor, and our spirituality is Vincentian. We are in all the continents of the world. And here in Nigeria, we are in about 36, between Nigeria, Ghana, and Burkina Faso. We are in about 22 states. And we are in nearly all the dioceses in the country. Our apostolates as servants of the poor cuts across all areas, social, education, and pastoral. When giving a service or invited to a diocese, our option is always, or rather our priority will always be persons who are living in poverty and cutting across all ages, the young, the not so young, older adults, and children. Men, women, and children are always part of the services we are engaged in, which the Daughter of Charity, for a Daughter of Charity, the poor are very important persons. And indeed, when a Daughter of Charity is passing through a street, the presence of anyone who is living in poverty will always attract her. And for us Daughters of Charity, in addition to the 3 vows which every religious take, we take the vow of service of those who are living in poverty. Okay, you mentioned leadership. You were once a leader in the province of Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and Ghana, right? Yes.
So from what time to what time was that?
I was a provincial leader for the province from 2010 to 2019.
Okay, now we are going to be delving into the main topic of this program, which is Gerotranscendence, a book written by your humble self. Can you please tell us more about this book?
Gerotranscendence, the word itself, Gero is old. Transcendence, we know, is transcending, living above. Gerotranscendence is a perspective that looks at aging and older life, older age, from a positive perspective, because Gerotranscendence looks at older adults based on a lot that they are capable of still giving to the society, still in themselves and expressing in their environment. You know, generally most people dread older age. Let me put it that way. Most people dread older age. But first of all, we know that older age is a gift. You know, longevity is not given to everyone.
Yes.
And when people are aging, they are afraid of many things, because what we see generally is people who are not able to care for themselves or provide for people who are struggling with aches and pains all the time. But despite that, later life is a beautiful time. There are challenges, of course, and especially if you have some health challenges that are chronic. But apart from that, in a society where provision is made, where you have social security, and people have worked and contributed to the sustainability of the society, later life is a beautiful moment when you can relax, do some of the things you are not able to do when you were younger because of many other challenges. For instance, you may have liked to play music, to play piano or the guitar, but you weren't exposed to that. In later life, you have the resources, you can go and learn it, because the capacity to learn is still there. The capacity to learn in later life is still very much there, you know. So that is part of why I have attraction towards this particular topic. And there are other ways of looking at later life, you know, but I'm particularly interested in this topic because as the title goes, some uncharted paths. There are lots about later life and aging that people don't know. So that came out in the book. And I also engaged some older people where you have the story continues, the story goes on, and they shared their experience of living. It's all in that book. Yeah.
Okay, what inspired you to go into writing a book such as this? I know there must be a vacuum you want to fill.
Yes.
What is the inspiration?
I have a master's in adult education. It was inspired by the fact that my mother was not literate, as I am. And growing up when I was in school, I know that my mother always wanted to write me, and sometimes somebody would have to do it for her. And she was a brilliant woman, and she told me that she would have gone to school, but when she was growing up, because as the first child, her immediate junior was a boy who has also died. So the privilege was given to the brother. And she always felt my dad did not give me that chance which I wanted. And considering the fact that I know she always wanted to communicate with us when we were in school, I decided that I will do adult education to accompany, especially women, to learn to read and write. While I was doing that course, a visiting lecturer took us on a course, gerontology, and it was very, very interesting. And I enjoyed that course. I internalized it, and I made a very good grade in it. So it was always in my mind that I would do something under gerontology. So when I had opportunity again to study, for my sabbatical, I could have gone resting just to have a free time. I decided to do a year, take a course I went to Swansea University in Wales, you know, UK, and I studied gerontology and aging studies. So it is about my vision and is to brought to greater light the place of older adults in our society. Nigeria and among other African countries, because we have a lot of young people who rejuvenate our population, we are not quite aware of the fact that we are also an aging population. Because in spite of the challenges we have, people are living longer. People are more aware of what they can do to exercise, to eat better, healthy living and all that. So people live reasonably longer. My eldest brother is 85, and many people now live longer. So we have a lot of older people in our society whose needs are not quite met, who need to be better appreciated. You know a lot from what we see. So it is about highlighting the place of older adults, appreciating their resilience, their contribution in the society, and encouraging older adults, which I am one, because from 60 you become an older adult, to encourage them to still live well, be happy that they have the privilege of longevity, and to encourage younger ones to have great regard for older adults. And where you have them in your family, in spite of the fact that our extended family system is no longer strong, to assure that we respect our older adults.
Yes, this book, from what you said, is coming at a time when we have a population in Africa and indeed in Nigeria that is made up of younger persons. And those younger persons may not understand the challenges that the older people are facing, as it were. So now, this will take me to the next question. What do you hope to achieve with this?
Yes. I have said parts of what I hope to achieve is basically to appreciate later life and to encourage our society to recognize the salient place of older adults in our society, to let older adults and younger people know that there are a lot of good things in later life, to look forward to later life, older age, not to be scared, and to interact more with older adults. Sometimes they are isolated. Some people dump them in old people's homes. Some leave them in the village and go. But to be aware of the important place the older person has, their wisdom, their experience, and to know that a lot can still be engaged. That's what we call a continuing engagement. We now, in Nigeria, we have the National Senior Citizen Center now, and the Director General is a gerontologist, and they are breaking grounds. They are doing a lot, to create this awareness. But like anything in Nigeria, people are saying it as a joke. But I am hopeful that because of some of the things they are doing now, like encouraging older people to make sure they have NIM, because time is coming from the work they are doing. Once you are 60, you are rolled into that generation, and the social benefits, a lot of opportunities, privileges, like insurance, pension, will be available. But until we get there, let's people not be afraid of aging, and let them, generally when you watch a lot of our films, older people are presented so negatively as witches.
Yeah, we will talk about that, but when we come back from this short break, and because I was reserving that for the second part of the break, after the break, because of there are things that people misunderstand in our society about aging and older people, which we will discuss after the break. Dear viewers, the program is Spotlight on Catholic Television of Nigeria, and we have been talking to a Reverend Sister Gloria, who is telling us about the importance of aging and how to meet at the center point between the younger and the older people. Do not go away. We'll be right back after the short break. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, the program is Spotlight on Catholic Television of Nigeria. And our topic today is Gerotranscendence. That's the topic of today. And it's talking about the older generation and how we can live together at a later age. And I've been speaking to Reverend Sister Gloria. Before we went on break, we were talking about some of the challenges that is inherent in older people. We've seen the younger generation labeling the older people. When you get to a certain age, you become like a burden to them. There's some of them, they are left in the village to fend for themselves, whichever way is not their business. And then some are even labeled as witches. So what do you think we can do to change this narrative? I know you have a book. We are still going to revisit it. But let's address this issue of neglect and then the challenges that comes with older people, with old age.
When thinking of challenges that come with older age or later life, it's mostly aches and pains, because we know medically, medically everything is no longer the same, and some have chronic conditions, We all know that as we age, our heart rates, the functioning of the heart, the joints, everything deteriorates. So that's basically what it is. Some also, loneliness can be there, but there are a lot that the society generates. When we look at abuse that older people experience, it cuts across physical, emotional, psychological, sexual, financial, and name it. And when we mention abuse, we mean abuse. For instance, financial abuse. Older adults, sometimes because they are no longer able to manage their resources, they sometimes trust their closest neighbor, their children, their grandchildren. And they take advantage of it and empty their accounts. And sometimes, like some of these ones, some of those who are even in older people's home, when their children will call and send money, they are not used to take care of them.
Yes.
Even the one they keep, they sneak it out, take it away. So when they need the money, it will not be there. And a lot of what they need to take care of their health is out of pocket. So when they are in need of that money they have, which belongs to them, it's not available. And the children, caregiver who might be looking after them, don't give a damn. Sometimes that takes me quickly to physical. When they even say, I kept this here, I cannot find it, they beat them. They beat them. I have watched a situation, and actually one of my sisters was telling me that there is this older woman in their neighborhood that the son canes for nothing. Just when she retorts and responds to the wife, her daughter-in-law says, why did you do this to me? The son turns against the mother and beats his mother. Physical abuse. Even when he has abused her financially and she comforts him, he has the second abuse. Of course, physical and emotional. Those abusive words. Sometimes when they go to hospital too, this old woman, sit here, let us finish with these young people, you have finished living your life. Is that not abuse?
It's an abuse, actually.
That's, the things like that happen, So that's a huge challenge, looking at it from that perspective. Then, there are a lot of issues going with poverty. You know what our pensioners go through, I live with someone whose mother, when she was ill, they made effort to assess her pension. They never got it until she died. We have it on, if you read our newspapers, you see it sometimes, what our older parents go through, how they have died under the bridge. Is that what it should be? you know, and some of them have houses, and their son take over the house and send them out. I'm not telling stories. You know, the National Senior Citizen Center is working with NAPTIP. And these days, when things happen, if they are alerted on time, they follow it up, you know. So these are mainly the challenges, you know, when we have the National Senior Citizen Center, which is an act, you know, that's of 2017. And recently, considering the fact of poverty, there is effort to give some stipend to support those who have the chance, who are aware. But you know what is going through now, that ministry, Humanitarian Affairs, is going through. So everything is standstill. You know. So the abuse, mention it when it comes to even going to places of worship sometimes. Some of them cannot go in because the environment is not age-friendly, because they're working with a device, you know, to be able to enter the church. So the abuse cuts across, you know. We need to just be aware that some of us have aged. Some of the people who taught us, who brought us up, are no longer as agile as ourselves. So when we are constructing things, to be aware that they are still part of the community, you know.
So now that this brings me to the fact that isn't it against the word of God that a young man should beat up his parents? So where have we kept our morality as young people? So what do you think we need to do to change the narrative?
What you do here as a TV station is one of them, because you promote morality, spirituality, and doctrines of the church and all that, and all religions promote good living. So what we are doing now is part of it, but to continue to put it to our younger generation that if you are blessed, you will age. And I think in all religions, we have it in Ecclesiastes, so that while you are young, you take care of older people and they will bless you and they will wish you well. And of course, when you consult them, they will give you suggestions that are helpful, you know. So I think it's about all of us, you and I, modeling it for your children, modeling care of older people. I was talking with someone yesterday who is looking after her mother, and her mother is 89. So I say, you know, what you are doing, your children are watching you. They will look after you because you don't abuse your mother. You take care of your mother. From Lagos, every month, you go home and spend a week with your mother, cut her nails, be present to her, because you are aware that she can feel lonely, you know, even though lonely is more than physical presence, you know. Your children are watching you. They will take care of you. And they will probably do the same. As they are doing it, their children will do the same. We learn it from them. Granted, people can always, you know, freedom is, everybody has his or her freedom. When we interact in the society, we choose what to do. But we want to exhort our younger ones. And I suppose also we have in our churches everywhere to create intergenerational opportunities where younger and older adults will interact. The younger learn from older ones. The older ones be more patient with the younger ones, so that they'll continue to interact and know that we live in the world, the same world, our common home, as Pope Francis puts it. You know. Okay, finally, we are rounding off now. What spiritual benefit do you think this will help, this book will do to us as a society, and then how will you be able to promote evangelization? This book, there is a chapter in this book that looks at spirituality and Gerotranscendence. all kinds, spirituality, horizontal and vertical. Because in later life, much of the energy of older adults is on their spiritual well-being, their spirituality, because they are aware that they are going to their end. So living well, being aware of our Creator, doing good is very pertinent to them. So this book addresses it clearly also. So it's one of the visions of older people is to end well, to die well, and when they die, to meet their Creator. So time was taken in addressing that in this book.
Thank you very much. This is where we are going to be dropping the anchor for this program. Thank you very much, Sister Gloria Anigbonam, for this wonderful expose you've done for us in this program today. We hope when we call you next time, you will oblige us and come and share your wealth of experience with us.
My pleasure, Tony.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, this is where we are going to be saying goodbye for today. Until next time, same time next week, when we bring you yet another important edition of this program. My name is Tony Abba. Stay tuned to other programs on Catholic Television of Nigeria. Bye for now.